What's up, people? We're back. We're doing this again. We hit our goal of 1 view, which was definitely a real goal and not a gag I stole from the Amazing Digital Circus. No, I just finished all my charts for Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3 and the interim games. And, figuring I'd just knock them out. At least 2 today. But yeah, exciting Digimon news. Between recording the last video and this one, they announced a new Cyber Sleuth game, which I'm so excited for. It's going to be the long-awaited Olympus 12 game, who have gotten, no attention because, the Royal Knights are, the darling children of the Digimon franchise. Then Vmon. Anyway, I'm here with Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories and 2, giving their characters Digimon, of course. And this time, we don't have to go through a whole explanation of what Digimon is. But we're going to have to do some weird little quirk things again. Sorry. And if you do want to see that Digimon explanation, if you're not very familiar with the franchise, please go suffer through my first video for at least 5 minutes or so. I go through the general what is a Digimon, how their evolutions work, how the evolutionary levels work, real quick, I guess, just to have something in this video. Digimon go through 6 stages, only 4 of them matter. It is Child, Adult, Perfect, and Ultimate. Child being the lowest form, Ultimate being the highest form. And I use the Japanese terms mostly. I tend to fluctuate between them because I like the Japanese terms, but I know most people are going to be familiar with the dub terms. So it's kind of just a mix and match crapshoot for me. Again, sorry. Yes, if you are more familiar with a dub, it's going to be... I'm actually blanking on them. Rookie, Champion, Ultimate, and Mega. I am far too much of a weeb. Alright. So, let's start. Alright, as you can see, I have the comm characters up first. But we're going to skip them for right now, because we're going to go to Roxas. Reason being, let's focus on Roxas here. Reason being that while I was making these lines, I got to Roxas, and a line I came up with for Roxas incorporates a specific gimmick in the Digimon franchise that kind of made me rethink pretty much just all of Organization 13. Alright, so we're going to have to start with another explanation. Once again, sorry. So, let's see, how's the quickest I can explain this? There was a movie in the, that era of, the early thousands of terrible, low-budget CGI movies. This was called Digimon X Evolution. The general plot was that the digital world had reached maximum capacity, and the host computer Yggdrasil decided to basically take a small portion of Digimon and move them to a new digital world, and then the rest he was going to wipe out by introducing this X virus that just mass genocided Digimon. But certain Digimon developed something called an X antibody, which fought off the virus, and it changed their form. I think in lore it's it brings out all their latent potential. So it gives them a different form, and they're called their regular name plus X antibody. But usually it's just shortened to Digimon X. So it gives us alternate forms of existing Digimon. So when I was doing Roxas, I was like, thinking, what can I give him that would make him like sort of like a mirror of Sora? If you'll remember from the first video, I gave him Magnamon as his pseudo-perfect level. So there exists Magnamon X, who is... So let's bring him out. Yep. I swear there was like more room last time. My formatting's probably screwed up somehow. Anyway, here's Magnamon X. Yeah, if you've seen a bunch of X antibodies, you'll know they just tend to get very detailed and very spiky. It's just kind of a running theme of the X antibodies. Generally, I don't like them, but it works for here to give Roxas a Sora-related Digimon. But unlike regular Magnamon, who is an armor level, explanation in first video, Magnamon X is an outright ultimate level. So, sure. We're going to start with Roxas's ultimate level, which is Magnamon X. Oop. Gotta go a little smaller. Cool. Alright. Yeah, so like while Roxas is on his, day's adventures, he just accidentally manifests this Magnadramon. I keep doing that. It's Magnamon. Magnadramon is Donald's ultimate. Magnamon X. And he doesn't know what it is or where it came from or whatever, but maybe it triggers some memories of Sora for him. I don't know. Something like that. But of course he's going to eventually develop his own Digimon. But once I got that concept of, the X antibody Digimon, I was like, hey, how fitting would it be if all of the organization members had an X antibody Digimon in their evolutions, because they all have the X, they have the key, some say Kai, and then it just screwed up a bunch of lines I already had made, but it fit the theme, so I had to go with it. Yeah, we're gonna come back to Roxas though. But that is the explanation for why some of these are going to be a little weird. Alright, we're going to start with our calm people in earnest here. Now, we have some, I want to say 1,500 Digimon in existence. But I was still feeling kind of strained to find fitting, at least lower levels for some of these guys. So I did have to dip into Appmon a little bit. Now, some of you might be asking, what are Appmon? To which I will tell you, don't worry about it. It's fine. It works. Don't ask any questions. It's fine. Okay, here's your explanation. Digimon went through like a weird period where it tried to rebrand itself a couple times. The first was Cross Wars, which was horrible, and the second was Appmon, which was less horrible. But essentially, like instead of just digital creatures in a digital world, these were digital creatures that were all based on smartphone apps instead of just regular data monsters, whatever. But unlike Cross Wars, this one actually kind of fit better with Digimon structure. And you know what? If we can manage to make Cross Wars work, this should be fine. It's fine. Shut up. We're doing it. It works. works, guys. All right, so I did have to get an app. I did have to go to Appmon for Naminé, and her first Digimon, her child level, is this little guy whose name is Diarymon. Yoop. Diarymon. And Diarymon's special ability is that it can like write things in the book that is its face, and the things it writes about people actually overwrite their memories. And that's it. Nominee's done. That's it. That's everything. That's all. That's her whole thing. We're good. We're good. We're good. Okay, we'll move on. We'll do the rest. I've given her an adult level. We're gonna go with Effectmon, which is this sassy, furry cat lady. Sure. Effectmon, who is a painter. So I think it's just Effecmon. Effectmon. And Effectmon's ability is that the things it draws, it can bring to life. So, sure, Nominee's an artist. Let's, make actual use of that. And, like, her drawings can actually come to life. That's how she fights, I guess. How she contributes. We gotta get Nominee more screen time. Like, to actually do things instead of just sitting in the background here. From Effectmon, she's going to evolve to, this is probably still when she's like helping out Organization 13. This is a Fakemon. It is a doppelganger Digimon. I think its ability is specifically, it's called spoofing. But it can transform into other people, other Digimon, other life forms, whatever. But, I mean, Naminé disguises herself as Kairi at one point? That could be a thing? Right? 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 Alright, well, after that. Once Naminé, fully defects and goes to the good side, and I guess comes back from being part of Kairi, we'll give her, I'm going to make this one big so you can see it. This is Razielmon. Razielmon is an angel Digimon. We're going to give her light since she is Kairi's nobody, technically. Forgetting the weird fuckery around with Sora's body, Kairi's heart, whatever. Razielmon's ability is, it's a silly one. It brings about any kind of miracle that will let it win. And that just brought to mind when she called upon Lingering Will in the universe reset in Kingdom Hearts 3. Sure. This makes use of Nominee's abilities in her whole line I'm talking about in various ways. If we see more of her, I'll come back and revisit this. But we'll go to Axel. Axel's going to be a little straightforward. We're going to start with this little lion dude whose name is COVIDmon. I'm kidding, it's Coronamon. It's Fairy Tale Kingdommon, because we're not allowed to say Corona anymore. I mean, for good reason, I guess. Coronamon, once it evolves, will give us our first X-antibody organization Digimon, and I guess this would be Axel's main form, Axel's Digimon's main form, while he's working for the organization. This is Meramon X. And the X antibody for Meramon kind of gave it a very violent temper, and it likes chasing after virus Digimon, which is, he's a Data Digimon, which Data Digimon are weak to viruses. It's a little thing that Digimon sometimes acknowledges, but rarely. Its ability is that it's called X-Radicate, which just burns anything up and without leaving a trace. So, certainly good for vaporizing. What's his face? It was right there at the bottom. Oh no, you can't see that. Vexen. So yeah, he'll have that while he's part of the organization in Castle Oblivion, and I guess early 2, once he, or maybe during 2 after he breaks rank with them. Maybe that scene where he kills himself to get rid of a small swarm of dusks. He could evolve to, this is Volkdramon. Volkdramon is actually a very pacifist Digimon. Volkdramon. Nope, gotta go a little smaller. Okay, a lot smaller, sure. Volkdramon, it's actually a pacifist Digimon. But if it's ever offended just once, you will surely suffer its scorching attacks like a raging fire. I'm just reading its profile. It just sprays magma at people, causes everyone within a 10-kilometer radius to faint from its sulfur of death. Interesting. Yeah, sure. Yeah, this fire, Axel. Yeah, we're good. It's good. It's fine. Yeah, and then Volkdramon is going to evolve to. I'm gonna make this one as big as I can allow on the screen here, because it's one of those annoyingly detailed ones. Volcanic Dramon. We have like 8 or 9 different Digimon whose name starts with Volk in some form or other. Gets a little confusing. Volcanic Dramon. Yeah. Big fiery dragon, magma. Burns things to ash, oblivion. I think its design just kind of evokes that his chakrams. I can't think of the word chakrams there. Just the spikiness in general, I guess. Yeah, this would be probably. I don't know if he would achieve it yet. He's still kind of new to his Keyblade in 3. But it would be like at the height of his abilities, you know. We'll move on to Larxene. All right, Larxene. Everyone's favorite / only savage nymph. We're gonna give her. This resolution is so big because it's a newer one. This is Jellymon. It's a little jellyfish Digimon. Her ability is to just, like finger gun zap people. It's not too strong, but she is just kind of like a little trickster-ish. Like almost exactly Larxene's personality, but maybe a little more. I was about to write Larxenemon. Jellymon. They kind of like almost exactly have the same personality. Jellymon's just not quite as sadistic, I'll say. She's more just jokey, but she tends to push people a little too far. At least if you've watched the Ghost Game version, that's probably a more benign version of Jellymon. And then we're going to give her ex-antibody, who she will mostly use throughout Com. And that's going to be a kind of an odd pick, but it's Manta Ray on X. Let's bring it out. Why are they so big? Why is every single picture so big this time? It feels like a weird one for her because it's looks like it's more aquatic than electric, but it's actually like very adept in stealth, and it has electric-based attacks, particularly I think just like an electric ball and like a little stun needle, which is that's Larxine's attack, is needles. Oh, sorry, its tail is called a stun needle, but its attack is called Paralyzed Tail, which stings the foe with its electrified tail and paralyzes them. And then just other like electric bombs, and which are called paralyzed bombs, which stun. This is if this were a Pokemon, like every attack it has would inflict paralysis, apparently. Yeah, so I think that's pretty good for Larxine, who is, Ninja E and Electric. Yeah, but then we're just gonna go to. Actually, I'm gonna shrink this ahead of time because they're just so big. This is Fumamon, who is straight up a ninja. Fumamon. Larxine's nobodies are the ninja class, so she gets a ninja Digimon. There's nothing specifically that calls out Larxine, I guess, aside from just being a ninja. He uses those scrolls hanging from its waist to summon undead Digimon. I feel like Larxine would like that. From there, then, we're gonna give her just a big fucking electric dude, girl, lady. Digimon don't have genders. I don't know why I'm using gendered language. Hey, don't go away. This is Kazuchimon. Let's put her in. Larxine could have a girl Digimon. Why not? I guess quick random explanation. Digimon do not have biological sexes. They reproduce through reincarnation as eggs, and sometimes random other, like just eggs just sometimes randomly get created. But they don't have biological sexes, but they can take on gendered characteristics and can be referred to as with pronouns? Do they? In Japanese they don't. I mean, because they just, don't have gendered pronouns. I'm trying to think if the dub has used. I'm sure they have. Whatever. Digimon can take on gendered characteristics if they want. Anyway, Kazuchimon, big ol' lightning Digimon. It dual wields lightning swords. It's like crazy strong tanker Digimon, like tank roll. You know what I'm going for. But like this could be the front line, while Larxine hides in the shadows and does more ninja things. This could be this Kazuchimon could be like the barbarian to Larxine's rogue for D&D people. Yeah. Let's go to Vexen. Which I say, but we're actually going to jump very briefly to Ansem the Wise, who, let's get him on screen, because his child, Zexians, and Vexens, I forgot his name already, jeez. There's a lot of names going on right now. I'm bad at names normally. They're all linked in a kind of a silly way. Because let me show you Ansem the Wise's child Digimon. This is Agumon Hakase. In English, I believe it's just Agumon Expert. It's a very smart version of a regular Agumon, and thus wearing a lab coat and a mortarboard. What do they call it? Mortarboard hat. It makes it its own species. It is a completely separate species from Agumon. But yes, because it's a smart Digimon, we're giving it to Ansem the Wise. Zexian as Ienzo, as Ansem's apprentice, is going to get a related Digimon. This is Terriermon Assistant, who, again, separate species from regular Terriermon, because it's wearing a lab coat and it's a little smarter. It's an assistant to Agumon Hakase. So we're going to give it to Zexian as one of the smart organization people. Digimon Assistant. Okay. And now we can go back to Vexen, because he gets a dark version of Ansem's Digimon. This is Nisei Agumon Hakase, or Fake Agumon Expert in English. Still kind of like a intellectual researcher, but he spews false information all the time. I feel like that kind of would be at odds with Evan or Vexen. We would probably have Digimon before they got nobodied. But I think it would kind of indulge in Evan's more sadistic researcher side. Sure. Adult level, we're going to harken back to one of our explanations from last video. I'm giving him one of the legendary warriors. This is the Warrior of Steel. We don't have a lot of good ice-themed Digimon that really match Vexen's aura. So we're going to kind of lean into his data copying, creation, weirdness, mad scientist, whatever. This is the Human Spirit of Steel. This is Mercurymon. There's actually like two Mercurymons. This one is spelled with an E, and then the other one is Olympic god, Roman Olympic god Mercury. Yeah. Right. Alright, so Mercurymon, he's also kind of a knowledge-based Digimon. But his special thing is he wears these shields that he just kind of reflects attacks back at the attacker. Which, I mean, Vexen's a shield guy, and he just kind of, he's not a big fighter himself. He just kind of copies people's abilities to throw back at them. Yeah. So we're gonna go with that. I think he would be clever and crafty enough to find the human spirit of steel. Mercurymon. Mercurymon. I don't know how you really are going to differentiate that in English. They made the other Mercurymon, not this one, the Roman god one. They made him Merukimon in English, which I really hate more than them both being named Mercurymon with different spellings. Random tangent, sorry. Anyway, this was one of those line ruiners that I was talking about because of Roxas. I couldn't really find a good fitting X-antibody to give to Vexen. But he's gonna get, this is Vamdemon X. English, you would know him as blanking. Myotismon X. Which, honestly, Myotismon's a pretty cool name. Like, it's one of the few dubisms that I really do like more than the original. But anyway, Myotismon is like kind of a intelligence-based Digimon, I guess. The only reason I really went with him is because his attack absorbs data from its target. He pierces his wing, arm, claws into Digimon and just sucks out their data to incorporate into itself. It's kind of like, you know, Vexen steals data from people, copies them, that sort of thing. Sure, it's fitting enough. It's fine. I kind of hate that I went with the idea that, like, their X forms would be their most used forms. I'll stick with the original name because I like Mercurymon better for him. But whatever. Vexen uses Vamdemon X while you're in Castle Oblivion. Fine. But his final form is actually, we're just rolling with that theme of copying and stealing data. This is Metamormon, not Meta Mormon. I'm sorry. Metamormon is a Digimon from the manga, actually. A manga. There's a couple. But he, like, Metamormon copies other Digimon and transforms into them and just in some way, shape, or form, like, improves on their abilities, so it's just always a little bit better than the Digimon it copies. So it's like, sure, you know, Vamdemon X sucks out data from Digimon, and then when it's Metamormon, it can transform into all the people he copied data from. That's, sure, Mr. Replica over here, just, why not? He's just making people out of nothing but heart fragments and memories. Why the hell not? Alright, Marluxia. Marley, alright. Our final boss of Sora's campaign of Com. Gosh, saying that now, should I have given him a super ultimate? It's not really on the same par as Xemnas. I mean, he got beaten by a half-powered, brainwashed Sora, so you know what? No super ultimate for him. We're just gonna go with the line I had already for him. Flowers. He's flowers. He likes flowers and such, and Doom. So we're gonna give him Floramon. Floramon. For a child level. Floramon. Basic flower Digimon. Shoots pollen at people. That, I want to say drains their vitality. That sort of thing. I don't know if there's much else needed for that. So we're just gonna go to the adult stage, which I picked out an armor Digimon for him to slot in as his adult. This is Kabukimon. Kabukimon. It's not really a humanoid. It's like a plant that looks like a person, but it's like kind of theatric, which I think Marley is secretly a theater kid, disguised as a Grim Reaper dude. I haven't played the K-Hux. I don't know. I played like half of it, and not the half that Marley was in, or Lorium, whatever. Anyway, yeah. Its attacks are worded weird. But he basically shoots flower petals at people in various confusing, illusion-y ways. Yeah. Kabukimon. We're gonna give him that. And then we're going a little darker. This is Oleamon. Oh, too big to fit. Here we go. Oleamon. It's it looks like a wilted plant, wilted flower, but it's one of those that's okay. Come on, give me the corner. Fuck you, Google. I'm sorry, I don't mean that. Don't dox me, Google. Like you love to do. Oleamon is one of those like rotting plant Digimon who lures in insects with its smell and then like traps them and sucks their nutrients. This is like, I don't know, pools of death sort of attack that Marley does. I guess could be like Oleamon themed now, just like gross dead plant stamens. Just like I don't know. Sure, whatever. And hey, we need an X antibody to give to Marley, so let's give him his big whatever his thing is. Actually, let me look it up, see if it is. The Spectre. Okay, so this is evoking the Spectre, the thing he rides. This is, oh boy, here we go. More overly detailed X antibodies. This is Ophanimon X. Yeah. This is specifically a double alt version of Ophanimon. This is Ophanimon Fall Down Mode X Antibody. It's a version that was so angry that it suppressed its own emotions and fell into madness. Ophanimon Fall Down Mode is specifically like a Digimon who's like justice obsessed. I'm sure that works for like whoever killed Lorium's sister. He would sick this one, just something like that. Whatever. Anyway, so it's a Spectre thing. It uses a scythe. Scythe is Marley's weapon. Yeah, I think that's it. I think we're good. Yep. Let's put it in here and see if we can type the whole friggin' name in this box. Ophanimon Fall Down Mode X. sure don't. Alright, we'll word wrap it. And shrink Ovadimon more. Yep, there we go. Sure. Coolsies. We're going to move on to Lexaeus. Lexaeus is going to start with... this is Gatsumon X. Gatsumon, it's like a version of Gatsumon that is a sumo wrestler. Yep, we're just going to slot that in. Gatsumon X. It's actually punches above its weight class. It's at least fights on adult level. It's very sturdy, very strong. Since it's his X Digimon, he would keep it in that form, and it would be surprisingly very strong. Lexaeus doesn't seem like the type who would really need to evolve a Digimon, which is actual real reasoning, and not just because that's the only Earth type X antibody that exists. We're moving on. He would evolve to Golemon. Golemon, big rock dude. It's a golem, so it's like kind of empty-headed, just kind of obeys orders. Which, does Lexaeus have a personality? I don't know. Barely. All the Earth guys are just kind of straightforward, big, rocky brutes. Yeah. From Golemon, we're going to go to Gogmamon. We kept everything at like a regular resolution size that it actually is, and it's too big for most of these now. Again, I really wish they would standardize these resolutions. Half of them are from like the 90s when they were like this big. Whatever. This is Gogmamon. He's another big rocky brute dude. He eats diamonds for breakfast. It's an actual thing. He's big puncher, big super strength dude. He takes his arms and he grinds up enemies between them, and then he can like accumulate light and fire it as a laser. This is all like the powerful brute force attacks that Lexaeus does, sort of thing. I barely remember his absent silhouette / data battle. It was all just kind of a bunch of nonsense like that, wasn't it? And for his final form, we're going to give him a Digimon, maybe the only Digimon whose official art comes with a background. It's a weird one, which is weird. This is Bancho Golemon. It's different from a regular Golemon in that it has its own will and acts of its own accord. Even so, it is still very stoic, won't really help people in need, but supposedly will drop everything to help out a comrade with whom it has exchanged blows. Which, I don't know, maybe once he's back to being, what's his real name? Alias? I feel like once he's back to Alias, he just kind of stands around doing nothing for all of 3 and the Dream Drop. I don't know, maybe he'll care if one of the other organization people gets hurt. Who knows? We'll see. See if he's ever even mentioned again. Sure. Let's go on to Zexion. Zexion, one of my favorite, if not my outright favorite, organization member. Minus Roxas, Axel, and Shion. We gave him Terriermon Assistant as his child level. He's like a little researcher. He would help Zexion with his whatever his pursuits are. does he really do much? I don't know. He kind of just messes with Riku and then dies. And then comes back as Ienzo and is like the only good guy researcher left. Sure. Anyway, we're gonna dip into Appmon again, and we're gonna give him Libramon. Libramon is a library-themed Digimon. Libramon. It's the Libby app as a Digimon. Now, by the way, get Libby. It's good. Libramon. Libramon can. Its special ability is to take its opponents and trap them in books. And again, we're good. We're done. That's it. Appmon has solved everything once again. Okay, fine. We gotta give him his X antibody anyway. We're gonna go with, for his perfect level, this is Balmon X. Or Bael. However you pronounce it. The demon Bael. Baal. It's spelled B-A-A-L. Anyway. Boop. Let's put him in. I mean, we gotta give him book-themed Digimon, you know? This is Balmon X. That's his signature as an org member. Come on. Okay. Balmon is a demon Digimon who owns a book called the Red... I'm gonna have to look that up. Red Book of Appin. It's a book that supposedly has all of Balmon's knowledge contained within it. And Balmon himself, he makes deals with people to trade them a page of the book in exchange for like some sort of ordeal that the asker must overcome. And if they fail, he gets to steal your soul. Fair deal, you know? It's fine. I mean, hey, you know, Balmon could be like Zexian's source of knowledge. He keeps asking him things, and he keeps pushing Zexian more and more, and then, I don't know, something or other happens. Balmon X specifically has brought out its latent potential, and the book that it has, the Red Book of Appin, is like now actually sentient and has a will of its own, and it has its ability to actually like take an opponent and transform it into a page into the book itself. So a little more advanced form of Libramon. Again, it's more of a trickery Digimon than a straight battle, but it's Zexian's annoying thing where he keeps throwing Sora into a book. Yeah. And we want to continue the book theme with a Digimon. We're kind of out of book-themed Digimon, but there's a new one. It's in the theme. Sure, book. It has a book. It's a book. This is a very new Digimon, actually. This is Necromon, and he holds the Necronomicon. It's actually in his profile. He's holding the Necronomicon. Zexian's not like an undead ghost kind of guy, but it's ghosts, illusions, magic, that sort of thing. The Necronomicon can actually summon, I believe it's copies of any, but it can summon the actual data of the Digimon that it has absorbed as an apparition. So, you know, it's in line with his trickery, sort of illusion-y. Sure. I think it fits enough. It's gotta go a little smaller. A lot smaller, sure. Fine. Alright, our last comm guy, Ansem the Wise. Ansem the Wise, we don't actually learn he is that until Kingdom Hearts 2, but he's introduced to us in comm as Diz. And we gave him Agumon Hakase as his child. And thankfully I don't have to give him an X antibody because he's not an org member. But I do have to still dip into Appmon, because I think having an Agumon Hakase would give him away as Ansem the Wise while he's trying to be undercover. So I gave him, and I have to go check the name. I gave him, this is Warpmon. He's kind of a mad scientist Digimon, but the thing on his back is like a little teleporter machine. So, like, maybe that's how he gets out of the Realm of Darkness the first time. Warpmon. Instead of, you know, giving into his own darkness, he just gets a kind of a mad scientist partner Digimon who can warp him out and, you know, helps him to get back at the organization. But maybe his Digimon's true form would be the next one. Just in fitting with his name. Here's Wisemon. It's a Digimon who is wise. He's just wise. He's a Wisemon. And if we got Ansem the Wise, we'll give him a Wisemon. His book is actually just called Book. I would have given it to Zexion, but you know, you can't just not give a Wisemon to Ansem the Wise, right? Sure. He's another researcher, smart, intelligence-based Digimon, even though wisdom is a separate thing, and whatever. Records knowledge in his book. Repeatedly preserves the opponent's attacks within space and time, and then plays them back at high speed. Sure. Like, he could record Sora, and, you know, I don't know, he's just, whatever. Whatever. Ultimate form. This one's actually kind of a cool Digimon, so I don't feel like Ansem the Wise deserves it, but he's the data guy. Whatever. So he gets Quantumon. Quantumon is a Digimon who, I'm just going to read its profile, extracts huge amounts of data from the net ocean using the expansion devices installed on its aerial city Lark, and runs millions upon trillions of simulations of the future. Together with its Digimon followers, Quantumon implements the best measures it has formulated against disasters that are predicted to occur in the digital world. Hey, that's cool. Then, you know, it's... I mean, Ansem the Wise, part of the reason he did awful things and stuff was because he was looking for ways to protect the people of Radiant Garden. So this is kind of right in line with that. Quantumon. Oof, I'm losing my ability to type again. Gosh, would he have been able to achieve that prior to getting betrayed? Probably not. But maybe, like, I think he could probably have reached Wisemon, at least prior to his banishment. betrayal and banishment. Maybe once it all is said and done, he could get a Quantumon, you know, accepting his failures in the realm of darkness, and doing whatever he did in Kingdom Hearts 3. I guess he helped to bring Roxas back. I don't know. But having a Quantumon at least could help him to get Naminé a body, a replica, whatevs. Yeah. Hey, we're done with Com. Let's go on to Kingdom Hearts 2. Alright, Kingdom Hearts 2. We got a bunch of repeat worlds that we don't have to revisit, thankfully. And yet we still have so many characters to get through. So let's start with Roxas. I started this video saying that he would have a mirror of Sora's Magnamon with Magnamon X. But eventually he's going to develop his own Digimon. And I know I said I don't like using just straight up intended lines. By which I mean, you know, Digimon who have evolutions that are visually look like they, you know, are intended to be their lines, because it's very limiting. But that said, Roxas kinda fits pretty well with, and now I've lost it, hang on, with the Hackmon line, or Huckmon, whatever the dub is going with at this point. They alternate between Hackmon and Huckmon a lot. I like Hackmon better. But let's just wheel them all out. Alright, so we got Hackmon, and he evolves into Bow Hackmon. Bow Hackmon, who becomes, and then he becomes, I'll make this guy big for a sec so you can see it. This is Savior Huckmon. Hackmon. Huck. A lot of dead white space on this picture, guys. What are you doing over there at Digimon Incorporated? Oh, get out. And then he's eventually going to develop his own unique... He'll still have access to Magnamon, Jesus. Magnamon. He'll still have access to Magnamon X, but he's also going to be able to evolve to his own unique form, which is... oh boy. This is his his X Digimon is Jessmon X for Jesusmon. That's so small. They're so detailed for them to be this small. Jessmon X purportedly stands for Justice Edge Sword, and unintentionally also stands for Jesus, because Jesus was a swordsman. Did you know that? Anyway, Hackmon is a royal knight in training. He was the final royal knight after like 20 years of the concept being introduced. He finally was introduced to fill out the whole 13 royal knights as the last one. But being, you know, in training, he's, you know, could be good or evil, whatever. He endures a lot of trials, and each trial increases his ability, and he would just like slowly accumulate these forms over the course of days, and maybe at the very end he would get Jessmon. Maybe he would just reacquire Magnamon X, and then Jessmon is like when he first comes back in 3 and fights Semnis in that little bit. And then Jesmon X is just... oh, it's just a mess of blades. It's that X antibody just adds spikes and swords everywhere. It's just way too detailed. Anyway, it's like, you know, it's swords everywhere. Roxas is a dual wielder. That's his kind of signature thing now, so sure. And then so this, let's see how big I can make it, because it's already really small image. Yep. Let's see. Alright, we got some dead weight space here we can play with. This is Jesmon GX. Alright, let's put him over here. Shrink it down so nobody can make out what the hell it is anymore, because why would you have a comprehensible looking Digimon at all, ever? Jesmon GT, the disappointing sequel to Jesmon Z. Jesmon GX. Yeah, this is like the ultimate final form of Jesmon X. It would get its power from its trainer Genkumon, maybe that's why it's G. But it has a final super attack by absorbing all the other Royal Knight's powers. I guess this would be a fusion of Roxas, Shion, and Axel's Digimon. But what does Shion get that makes this make sense? Let's find out and be disappointed. But for now, let's move on to Pete. Peter, the cat, Peg-Leg Pete. Is his name actually short for Peter? That feels so weird on Pete. I want to do research for this, but let me finish this first, I guess. Pete, originally from Disney Town. I'm just never gonna be able to not think Disney World for the first thing. I'm just never gonna not immediately think Disney World when I'm trying to think of Disney Town or Disney Castle. But yeah, we're gonna keep a cartoon theme for Pete, and he's also just gonna get he's just kind of a useless minion in Kingdom Hearts. So we're gonna give him a gross cartoon mouse. But this is Tyuumon, Tyuumon. Is it UU? Tyuumon. In English, it's Chumon. Either way, it's the noise, the onomatopoeia for a rat noise or a mouse noise in Japanese. Which is why Pikachu's name is Pikachu, because Chu it's a mouse noise. Fun facts. Yeah. Chumon is not big combatant, but it rides on people's shoulders and just whispers terrible ideas in their ears. So I think early on in Pete's journey, he just gets this Chumon who just start, after he retires as a black and white tugboat captain, he just has this Chumon who slowly influences him to become a villain by whispering Fox News propaganda into his ears. Hey, politics. Once he evolves, Chumon is going to become Dogmon to go with him as a cat. It still weirds me out that Pete is a cat. This is Dogmon. Dogmon is actually specifically a Digimon who was born of American cartoon TV data. This is in its profile. This is actually true. But it's actually a toon Digimon. Like it, if you've seen Yu-Gi-Oh, the original Yu-Gi-Oh series, Pegasus's toon monsters, who just bend and stretch around and avoid attacks. That's what Dogmon does. He's like almost exactly that. So he's good at dodging attacks, but not much of a fighter himself. He has an attack that demoralizes opponents and weakens them, but you could be like a debuffer while Pete's rolling around in his weird pinball thing. Sure. Pete's perfect, and Pete's perfect now. He's always been perfect. He's Pete doesn't need to change for you. Doesn't need to change for Maleficent. He just needs to learn that for himself. Sorry, weird tangent. Pete's perfect level Digimon, once it evolves to it. This one is this is a weird one. This was actually inspired by Lion Pete, the weird, gross Pete lion from Pride Lands. Just when he goes to all these worlds and disguises himself, instead of magic, there's this one really weird, gross Digimon. It's called Betsumon. It's like this completely human person who cosplays as Digimon, but is a Digimon himself. But it's in these paper-thin disguises, these just big onesie cosplay disguises. But while it's wearing it, it actually, people actually do think it's that Digimon. So I just think it's funny if when Pete goes to these other worlds, Betsumon just sets him up with his onesies of those worlds. So he's just wearing a lion onesie, and he appears as a lion to the Pride Lands peoples. And he's also just very upsetting to look at. But sure, that works for Pete. And his ultimate level, if he could ever reach it, maybe if ever he one day leaves Maleficent's employ, I gave him Prince Mamemon. If you'll recall from video 1 for Kingdom Hearts 1, I gave Mickey various Mamemon forms. This is another ultimate that Mamemon can have. So this is hearkening back to that as his Disney origins, but I think the Prince status is actually kind of an embarrassing Digimon, because it's not really all that royal. It just kind of is very pompous and fakey royal. Just targeting back to Pete's banishment from Disney Town, and kind of his desire to actually have been put in charge instead of Mickey, maybe. Sure. Yeah, this is kind of his resentment and jealousy over that. It's not, again, super strong, but it's not super strong. It's not terribly weak. It could at least, cause some havoc pinballing around with Pete in his pinball suit thing that he does. Sure. Let's move on to Disney worlds, because I don't have to be as in-depth with them. Mulan! Hey, Mulan. Mulan. What does Mulan have? She's kind of fire themed, right? Right? We'll give her This is actually Axel's final form, Volcanic Dramon. Volcanic Dramon. Again, we have so many volcano-themed Digimon. This is Vorvomon. And Vorvomon's intended final evolution is Volcanic Dramon, but we're just gonna pretend that it's its own thing, because it's more fun that way. Vorvomon. This is gonna, compete with Mushu to be her little dragon partner. Even though this is a more European-themed dragon versus the Chinese-themed dragon that Mushu is, which, in retrospect, feels a little racist on my part, maybe? Whatever. We're gonna stick with it. Because the next one is I gave her an armor for her adult level. It is also in the dragon theme. This is Fladramon. Or, if you like the dub better, it's Flamedramon. Either way. Sticking with the fire and dragon theme, is now a dragon man and swords and such and so forth. Sure. After that, we're gonna give Mulan Mistymon. This is all stuff that she doesn't acquire until she stops being Ping, because you have to accept yourself for who you are to evolve your Digimon. That's a whole thing. Mistymon is one of our few magic-themed Digimon, but he is also a swordsman, so I usually don't like using him for magic, magic-themed lines. But yes, magical fire swordsman. That's kind of what Mulan does, right? Fireworks, swordsmans. Sure. We're gonna move on to Ultimate. We're running out of fire swordsmen. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna give her a Royal Knight, because that's kind of what she becomes at the end, right? Like, with the Emperor, I guess. I really haven't watched Mulan in a long time. Maybe since it came out. And I definitely didn't see the live action version, because stop with that. They're just never as good. Anyway, where was I going with this? This is Lord Nightmon, also sometimes known as Crusadermon. Lord Nightmon, fun fact, was an effeminate male in the original Japanese, but was one of the strongest Digimon they ever fought in the anime that it debuted in. But then they changed it to a woman in English. Lord Nightmon is just kind of the ruler of all the Nightmons, the leader. It's very strong. It's weirdly obsessed with beauty. Lord Nightmon is kind of like lawful neutral, generally speaking. In its entirety, it has unparalleled ruthlessness in the execution of its duties, and it shows no compassion for the weak. If it brings about lasting peace, Lord Nightmon will find merit there, even with rule by power. In its entirety, it has unparalleled ruthlessness in the execution of its duties, and shows no compassion for the weak. It's, I'm sure Mulan could steer it to be good. Yeah. Let's tackle Shan Yu. And what can't you say about Shan Yu? Just a man brimming with so much personality, just options upon options that we could go for him. You know, just all the things he does and says. He's got a hawk. He's got a hawk. Hayabusa. Let's go with that. We're gonna go with that. We're gonna go with birds. Why not? That's all I got out of him. He's just gonna get a Hawkmon. This is Hawkmon. It's a little too bright and cheery for him, but it's gonna be a muted color Hawkmon when he gets it. Not a full-on recolor version, just like takes on his personality a little bit. Then we're gonna wash out those colors. We're gonna give him Saberdramon. This is a ruthless version of Birdramon. Saberdramon. Very cruel. Darkness aligned. Sure. I'm just gonna blow through Shanyu because I don't care about. Because I don't. He just what does he have aside from Angry Hun Man? After Saberdramon, this is probably the final form he could achieve on his own. This is Karatenmon. Slot him in. Shrink a little more. A little more. Come on. Karatenmon. This is a crow-themed flying swordsman birdman Digimon. Sure. He's a swordsman, I think. You have like one boss fight with him and he barely has any personality there. It's like you're focused on the door. That's not a way to like give your villain personality. It's like care about the door more than the guy that you're fighting. Like you don't learn anything about Shanyu then. I don't know. I'm rambling. Anyway, here's Ravmon. Yeah, let's make him bigger. For the 2 seconds we care. For the remaining 2 seconds we care about Shanyu. Again, just bigger Birdman. Swordsman Digimon. Was a protagonist in one of the seasons, but it's like one of the tertiary protagonist, the one you don't really care about. So, who cares? Let's get out of here. We're gonna go to Orin. Oh boy. We went from one guy I didn't really care about to one guy I just don't know about. This is why I skipped all the Final Fantasy people from Kingdom Hearts 1. I have never played a Final Fantasy game. I tried to start 10 and I just didn't get very far. I don't remember why I put it down. But anyway, the only thing I know about Orin is he is a guardian. I don't know what that means. I'm just going to go with some Digimon. If I'm wrong, please yell at me. Or don't. I don't care. He has kind of a samurai-ish vibe to him. So this is Ryudamon, who is a samurai-themed little furry dragon dude. We're gonna put him right here. Fit in there, damn you. These Digimon don't want to fit in their squares today. Ryudamon is he's another one of those Digimon who can transform into a weapon, so he can become a sword, which Orin could use as his sword. Does he have an attachment to that sword he's wielding? I don't know. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he can dual wield. Does he ever use that second arm? I don't know. yell at me if he does. From Utamon, his adult will be BrineRender. I like this guy. He wouldn't be my Digimon, but I like because his name is Burai, which in using particular set of kanji is like an outlaw. But if you spell it in katakana, it would be my name. It would be Bri. Or alternatively, it's a kind of like a misspelling of samurai, samurai, something like that. Some of these they're just like spitballing at guessing where the names come from. This is just kind of one of those used once Digimon and never again. So it's just sitting forgotten, except on Digimon wikis. Yeah. But yes, he's a swordsman. He's a samurai again. I'm sorry. I don't. That's all I know about Orin. Yeah. We're actually gonna just keep on going with that theme. This is Buraimon's intended evolution. This is Butenmon. It's just bigger, heavier armored samurai bird dude. We're rolling with it. And finally, he's gonna get. This is actually Ryudamon's intended ultimate. I didn't like the in-between forms for Orin. But this is Oryumon. He can also turn into a weapon. He turns into like a saber axe, a gigantic saber axe. But sure. Oryumon. Yeah, samurai, swordsman themed. Again, that's all I know about Orin. Yeah. Let's go to the Caribbean. Okay. Alright, we got Jack. I don't have a ton of pirate-themed Digimon left. I kinda used most of them for Hook, except for Captain Hookmon. Well, I did consider giving to Jack, because it would kind of be like a funny moment, like, Captain Hookmon? Isn't that from a different world? We'll give Jack... this is a kind of a weird pick. This is Swimmon. But it has a great attack called Brine Pistol. Just that's like the coolest name ever, Brine. But it's a tropical fish you might find in the Caribbean. I think it would be able to, go under the radar and be sneaky or whatever for Jack to steal stuff. I don't know. He's not really a thief. He's just kind of a scumbag. Sure. Adult, this is actually also one of my more liked classic Digimon. This is Sealamon. This is Coelacanth. Just kind of a bump up for Jack. And it's not it's kind of like the size of a dog. It's not huge. It's not terribly strong, but it is. I don't actually have anything to finish that sentence. I just think they're cool. I was thinking, the whole Pirates of the Caribbean series deals with, ancient artifacts and treasures and stuff like that. And, Sealamon is, or Coelacanths, rather, are sort of, living ancient fish. So, you know, it's kind of in that theme-ish. Yeah. After that, we are gonna give him Hangyomon. You may know this as Divermon from Dub. This is a fishman who is a diver. Yeah, I just feel like Caribbean, you know, it's like all the ocean stuff. This would probably be helpful to have. Just to, you know, swim around, attack other ships, that sort of thing. You know, get him out of bail if he has to abandon ship or get thrown overboard by his own crew, which I think is what happened in the first movie before Barbossa stole the Black Pearl, something like that. And then Jack's ultimate. One of the many times he finds himself shipless. He just would randomly achieve this because that's just kind of how Jack rolls. He would get his ultimate level, which is it's I'll just bring it out. This is there's no background on this one. King Waymon. Let's get him in the middle, somewhere where there's nothing that in the background so you can actually see it. King Waymon is actually the size of an island. So Jack would just have his own mobile island to get around one of these times when he gets shipwrecked and stranded. And that's just how he would get back. Just, you know, saved by sheer luck. Let's do Barbossa. Again, we're not super strong on our remaining pool of pirate Digimon. So I think we're gonna lean into the zombie undead aspect of the first one, even though he's not in Kingdom Hearts 3, but we barely got to see the plot of that movie, so who cares? Yeah, he's gonna get, this is Dracumon. This is his child level. It's actually a tiny little vampire. But it's got eyes in its hands, like the... What's that from? What's that from with the eye hands? Hellboy? I don't remember. I never actually saw it. Yeah, that he can hypnotize people, Dracumon, with his hands. Good for abducting Elizabeth, I guess. Well, sure. We're just going to go to an old standard of Bakemon. If you recall from last video, this is the standard version of Jack Skellington's, not Sparrow's, Jack Skellington's adult level, Soulmon. Soulmon is a recolor of Bakemon. And we're just going to give him that, because undead. From there... From there, we're going to give him Oboromon. Let's make this bigger. Oboromon is an undead Digimon. Lives in graveyards like a ghost. It's a berserker who never backs down against superior opponents and fights by any means necessary. It's thought that the reason it has an unusually intense because it's taking one hatred data from Digimon. On the other hand, Although the blade protruding from the skull is brittle and breaks easily, it has the characteristic of regenerating over and over again each time it breaks. Sure. Undead, vengeful. We got our Barbossa Digimon. Perfect. Level. Oboromon. And then, Oboromon is going to evolve to Gokumon. This is the strongest Digimon, way stronger than Superman. It's actually Gokumon. The etymology, I believe, is something to do with graveyards? Hell? Jigoku, meaning hell. Or Gokumon, actually meaning prison gate. Or Gokwaku, meaning evil. Alright, sure. We'll go with it. Gokumon is a Digimon born of the data for wanted criminals. Hey, that screams pirate to me. There is a price on its head, but it isn't distrusted as it believes to be a bounty hunter, as it is a strange villain on the hunt for criminals. Sure, undead, wanted criminals, maybe criminal itself, may not be. I'm good, I like it. It's fine, we're gonna move on. We're gonna go to We're gonna go to Pridelands. We're gonna go to Pridelands. Alright, Pridelands. We've had Simba in Kingdom Hearts 1 as a summon. We meet him in Kingdom Hearts 2 mid-movie when he is with Timon and Pumbaa. And to that end, I think the Digimon that we meet him with is one of the failure Digimon. You've been too lazy and have not been training and have not been taking care of your Digimon, because that's how he's living his life with Timon and Pumbaa. This is Karatuki Numamon, or Shell Numamon. And I think evocative of the grubs he's been eating. Karatuki Numamon. But his original true Digimon at its child stage is, we're just gonna give him lions. This is Leolmon. He's actually a holy Digimon, but he's just a cute little lion cub. And then, once we, kick his ass into shape, he's going to... Karatuki Numamon will revert back to a child, and he'll get his true adult, which is Leomon. Bring out that Leomon, who is just a regular lion, except he has two tails and earrings, and braided hair. That's neat. Let's make him real small so he'll fit. That will be his true adult form. Per his profile, he's a holy beast Digimon that exudes the style of a king, even though it is only an adult. So yeah, he is a lion and a king. Which, it's fairly on the nose there. I think we're just gonna roll with that. His attack is even called Thunder of the King. No, Thunder of King, no the. Because who needs grammar, honestly? And that's just another one we're good. We can be done. We could just be done now. But okay, we'll keep going. Simba, I believe, is fire themed in 3. So we can give him, this is an armor, who I'm going to slot in as his perfect. This is Lynxmon. Firecat themed. This is maybe like Sora's Limit His limit with Sora is like he pulls out Linksmon. Sure. And then, you know, overcoming all his trials on your second visit, we'll just give him a classic. This is actually one of the very first Ultimate Digimon to ever exist. This is Saberleomon. This is a gigantic saber-toothed tiger who is a lion. Don't question that. Saberleomon. It makes sense. Don't question it. Right, and then we'll talk about Scar. Scar, just because I needed a child that fit, this is Elecmon, quote unquote, or this is Elecmon in brackets Violet, which separates it from regular Elecmon, who is red. Although regular Elecmon isn't, you know, brackets red, it's just Elecmon. This is the recolor version. It was a separate species. Elecmon Violet is a lot like regular Elecmon. It's just high-key evil and violent. It's a Violet who is violent. Yeah, he's kind of a jerk. But he would, you know, kind of hide that as in Scar's, you know, regicide life. Yeah. And then, you know, killing Mufasa, he would have, this is Mad Leomon as his adult. And Mufasa would probably just have regular Leomon. Because they're brothers, and they would, you know, That wasn't an ugh at them being brothers, that was an ugh at the pictures just freaking out on Google Sheets today. Yeah, evil Leomon, just a big evil jerk, cruel, so on and so forth. Let's keep going. This is post-regicide. He has become king. Set the Pride Lands into ruin. There's just all these bones and skeletons everywhere. So to match that, we got Skullbaluchimon. Let's slot that in. This is some kind of skeleton griffin thing. Has no emotions or intelligence because its body operates by reflex with only the data of the nerves laid out within its body. It's mercilessly attacking until it can no longer move. It's said that it will plunge any Digimon into the terror of death. Yeah, it's just kind of a Digimon. It's one of the running themes of some of these skeleton Digimon is that they're just bones that are basically piloted by instinct. No emotions or intelligence, operates on reflex, keeps mercilessly attacking until it can no longer move. Just, you know, evocative of the death and skeleton, death and like bones and skeletons of Scar's reign. And when we come back for second visit, Scar's Ghost and Skullbaluchimon, I guess, are gonna just fuse into, or I guess it's Scar's Heartless. He gave up his heart, but he doesn't really change. Rambling, sorry. Instead of Earthshaker, you just get a gigantic, this is Skull Mammothmon. And it actually has a built-in weak point as a video game boss in this red orb in its chest. This one actually in lore, Skull Mammothmon is supposed to hunt virus Digimon, again mindlessly and ruthlessly because it's just a skeleton who's lost his body. but like it fits with the Mammoth Graveyard. Skull Mam. I think it's just Skull Mammon in Japanese. It is. I'm gonna go with that. Alright. It's Mammoth, Skull Mammothmon in English if you want it to be that. But I don't. Because I just want to move on to Space Paranoids. Space Paranoids. A digital world? What a ridiculous concept. Who would ever like that? Yeah, this is gonna get a little fourth wall-y, I guess. Tron. Tron is gonna get his own Digimon despite being made of data. This is a real thing that can actually happen in the Digimon franchise. Like digital, not Digimon, digital beings can actually get their own Digimon. But we're actually going to give him some Appmon, because I think they fit him a little better. We're going to start with Onmon, as his name is Onmon. It's Onmon. Oh, a little too big. Alright, there we go. Onmon. Onmon is like the, turning a thing on or off. This is on. Onmon's ability is like to raise an ally's motivation, like turning on a switch in their mind. Sure. Tron can be kind of like a support character that boosts Sora and whoever else is with him. And I think he's a cute little guy, and I think his little outfit looks like Tron's, like the Space Paranoids outfits. Sure. But Onmon is going to evolve into Loginmon. Logimon. That is the Appmon concept of logging in. Always. It's like always it's respectful of the system. It always uses proper login information and ID, and always uses the front door. Just respectful of data and systems, so on and so forth. Yeah. I kind of just used it because it was Onmon's evolution, and it still has that sort of Space Paranoids suit look. Yeah. Perfect. We're going to go with... This is the protagonist Digimon from Appmon. This is Globemon. This is the main protagonist, I should say. Globemon. This is based on globalization of tech. Globemon is like very adept at analyzing data. It says it could like take in data from all angles and analyze it simultaneously. Which, as Tron advances his programming, he gets better at data analysis and stuff. Yeah, I think it's befitting. And then I don't like any Appmon Ultimates, although they're called God Grades from Appmon. So I don't use any of them. But we're gonna go with a weird swerve for Tron. If any Digimon fans ever watch this, I'm sure there will be flack for this one. This is Gabumon Bond of Friendship. That's its full name. It's, if you know, Gabumon is one of the protagonist Digimon from Season 1. It's a little dinosaur wearing a wolf pelt. I'm sure if you've seen any Digimon anything, you've, like, if you haven't seen an Agumon, or if you have seen an Agumon, probably like the second Digimon you would ever see is a Gabumon. And anyway, this is like a special evolution that specifically Gabumon would have. And Tron does not have that, but we can bend the rules. It's Digimon, you can do that. This is like a very high level Ultimate Digimon. I guess, because he's learning about humans, he's learning about friendship and all that stuff, and he can really internalize it at the end. And the really important thing is that Gabumon Bond of Friendship can turn into a motorcycle. And he would use that instead of a light cycle, and that's the only reason I picked this. Yeah. Yeah. To that end, I think it fits. So we're going to slot that in. Gabumon in dashes. Bond of Friendship. That is precisely how it is parsed out. And it's too big to fit. To fit the text. Okay, MCP. MCP. Sark doesn't get a Digimon. Sark is MCP's Digimon. Does that make sense? No. No. Sark's just not important. He's just a lackey. He's not even like cognizant enough of a program to have his own Digimon, at least in the Kingdom Hearts context. Let's go with a classic from the first. Sorry, this is the second Digimon movie, technically. Our War Game was the movie. This is Keramon. This is a Digimon who goes online and chomps down on data. It just eats all the data until it evolves. So this... so I think like MCP would sick it after undesirable programs. Maybe programs who lose light cycle races get fed to his Keramon. And he's just been slowly building it up over time. And it evolves to Chrysalimon. If anybody calls this thing Kurisarimon, you tell them they are wrong. One of my biggest pet peeves in the dub. Chrysalimon is when they just take the Japanese name and directly transliterating it without realizing that it meant to be something. So Chrysalimon was originally Kurisarimon. Kurisari. Chrysali. But they just typed it out that way and didn't... You get me. Chrysalimon, it's just a further evolution. Yep, we're just going to keep going with this intended line. This is Inframon. We're still eating data. We're still getting annoying. This guy just, he crawls around on the walls of the MCP's chamber, just like shooting missiles at, it's just like shoots enemy, and shoots energy, and just like shoots energy balls out of its mouth at Soradon and Goofy during the MCP fight. Inframon. Okay, and then normally this line would end in Diablomon, or again, direct transliteration, Diaboromon. That one's not as egregious, but I'm gonna swerve a bit, and we're gonna give MCP, let's make this one nice and big, because the true Digimon is very small. It's this little thing on top of this big, like, globe body. This is Quartzmon. We're going to pull a Maleficent from last time. He's been sicking his Caramon, Chryssalimon, Inframon. He's been feeding it all this data. Eventually, it just eats the MCP himself. This is like an extra further final boss battle. Quartzmon is a Digimon that has just become extremely gluttonous for data. It just consumes as much as it can and desires to consume all the data of the entire world. And can like even swallow Digimon whole and absorb them. And you know, it's Sword on Goofy just gotta kill the thing up top and they save the whole internet. Or whatever. Yeah. And that's all our Disney worlds. And we can move back onto our original characters. Original Cage characters. And first up, let's go to Demyx time. Demyx is water and music. But personality-wise, he's just kind of lazy. So his child level is this sleepy little koala bear who's secretly a demon. This is Fescomon. Just kind of reflecting Demyx's inherent laziness and desire to avoid work. Fescomon is mostly just sleeping all the time. When it is awake, it has poisonous claws and I believe some form of hypnosis. I'm gonna double check that. Oh, okay. So it is poison claws, but it's paralyzing poison and like sleepy eye hypnosis to kind of like make people lazy as it is. Maybe that's why Demyx is so lazy. Maybe his Fescomon is just like injecting him with paralyzing poison or what is it? Evil snore that just kind of makes him the way he is, or vice versa. No one can really tell. Nobody really likes Demyx enough to ask. Poor guy. From Fescomon, he's gonna get another. This is another failure evolution. This is actually specifically from a fitness. I think, did I explain this in the last video? I don't remember. There was a whole like fitness watch themed line with like a bunch of branches because they had like a watch that would measure your heart rate and your Digimon would evolve based on how active you were. And this is the failure one if you were just a big lazy ass. This is Namakemon. Yep. Namakemon. He's also yeah, this is a Digimon that has ended up only finding joy in life from eating and sleeping. Its dislike of strenuous exercise has even erased its combat instincts as a Digimon. Much like Fescomon, this guy also has a paralyzing attack, although its main attack is throwing poop. That's kind of a running theme of the failure Digimons. But yeah, his lick is numbing, and it can paralyze people. Imagine fighting, doing the Demyx fights with the water clones, and this guy just randomly, gets you with a lick and it stops you for a second. How annoying would that be? Fight's already annoying as is. Although I think once Demyx is gets actually going and fighting, and actually tries, he could hit his perfect level, which I went with. This is also from that same fitness themed line. This is Tempomon. He's a penguin hoodie bird weird thing. I don't know. It's got like a weird furry muscle arm coming out of this but he's got claw feet. Anyway, he's a dancer. This is Tempomon. Yeah, he's like a dance fighter. He's like I think he does capoeira. I think it's actually in his profile that he does capoeira. Yeah. Performs to the rhythm and unleashes taijutsu while dancing. Incorporates kendo, kempo, and capoeira martial arts. Yeah, I mean, Demix is the music guy, and he, while he's playing his sitar, you gotta dance a Digimon to go along with it and just like wreck your shit up while you're avoiding water clones, and this guy's just dancing all over you. Yeah. And ultimate level, he's going to get Clavis Angemon. He's been the master of masters this whole time. Now, we're going to give him, he needs X antibody, so we're going to give him Plesiomon X. This is the Loch Ness Monster as a Digimon, and this is the X antibody of that. Plesiomon actually, like, its special move is singing this song that induces depression and sorrow in their opponent, making them lose their fighting spirit, which I think again harkens to Demix's laziness, just kind of inducing that in even his opponents. Also, it's just kind of funny, like everyone else, most of the other Org 13 guys, I gave their X antibodies as like child, adult, or perfect. Demix, the laziest one, who would have it, their X antibody as their like main form, would have it as his ultimate. Yeah, it's sure. I'm telling you, Master of Masters. Zaldin, one windy boy. We're just gonna go with some wind-themed Digimon. Actually though, first, this is Falcomon, who is not very wind-based, or he can't fly, is what I was trying to get at. He's more of a glider than a flyer, but he has very razor-sharp talons and claws that he attacks with. He's more like kick-based than flight-based. But he's, kind of goes with the big stabby spears that Zaldin has. And speaking of sharp, stabby things, blades, spears, so on and so forth, we're going to give him Repamon as his adult level. Repamon is it's like a Kamatachi, which, if you know, is a yokai who's just like a wind weasel sort of thing. And they just kind of like have slashy claws that, like, it's like when you're in a strong wind and it just kind of like bites at you. That sort of thing. It's like, it's a Kamatachi is the spirit that they can't, that in Japanese legend, you can look it up. I can't explain it well. This one, Repamon, can like slash its tail forward so hard it creates a wind blade. And then continuing on that Kamatachi theme, this is Kyukimon. Kyukimon is also a Kamatachi. But this one can like generate whirlwinds to trap its opponents, and then just slash like vacuum vacuum wave blades at its opponents to slice them up. And then Zoldan's X antibody. I went with another Mega for this one. Sorry, Ultimate. This is... I'll just bring him out first. And we'll make him big. Goodness knows our X antibodies, you can't... You're not allowed to be able to tell what's going on in any of them. Just details and blades everywhere. This is Digimon X. Digimon X. This is the best flyer of the Royal Knights. He is a wind themed. He is Wyvern themed, which I think is Zaldan's nobody name? Nobody class? No, it's Dragoons. Which, you know, Dragoon, Wyvern, there's something there, I guess. Yes, most skillful among the Royal Knights when it comes to aerial combat. But yeah, he's mostly wind themed. They kind of have it's just kind of the spikes, the spikes and spears theme in common, but it works for him. Okay, moving to Xigbar. Now, knowing this is actually Lushu, I did want to give him an ancient Digimon, one of the Warrior 10, but none really fit him, as far as I know. Again, I haven't really seen much of Cux or back cover. I think I watched it like once. But I mean, he would probably, even if he had his Digimon all the way back from then, he would probably want it to be more in line with his current self. So we're going with another gun-themed Digimon. This is, first off, Shotmon. He actually, despite being a revolver, is a first-rate sniper who specializes in long-range shooting. Okay, we're just gonna keep going. Honestly, I could have like mixed up a bunch of these that I gave to him and Clayton, because Clayton I gave Commandermon as his child level. And this is High Commandermon, which I'm giving to Xigbar now. I just felt like there was something there with Apemon for Clayton. But anyway, yeah, this is you know, more gun, bigger dino. It's got a riot shield and a bigger gun. We're just sticking with the guns. But after that, for his perfect level, we're gonna go with Shootmon. This is not Shootumon, which is what I gave to Peter Pan as his perfect. This is just regular shooting. Shootmon. This is actually again from that fitness band themed fitness watch line, and this is sports again, but this is just kind of because Xigbar is a little bit surfer dude, silly, goofy kind of, to I guess to be unassuming as secretly an ancient master, but he has like a ball cannon that he shoves sports balls into, and I think a bowling ball even. And you can just launch them at people. But yeah, I just thought like the goofiness of Shootmon kind of matches Xigbar's sillier side. And then his X antibody. I actually gave all three of these guys their ultimates as their X antibody. Yes. bring him out. This is very popular Digimon. This is Beelzemon X. Or, sorry, the X version of a very popular Digimon. I should say the X antibody version of a very popular Digimon. I do not want to know about the X version of popular Digimon. I'm just going to stop rambling about that. Beelzemon, it's got an arm cannon, it's a shooter, Beelzemon's actually one of the demon lords. It's a very strong Digimon. I think maybe that it could be a hint to Xigbar's true identity. Just kind of, yeah, shooting magic bullets, incinerates data without leaving a trace, as if the flames itself falls. Yeah, I think that's good. I think we're good on that. I don't know what else I could really add. I mean, Xigbar's thing is space, or his element, I should say. I mean, I'm sure he could just play around with it. You know, he's always warping around to shoot people. I'm sure just add another sniper and just makes it hell. So we're good, and we're going to move on to Luxord. Luxord, we're going to start out with an Appmon. This is Trickmon. Trickmon is a card Digimon. This is what I was saving all those card-themed Digimon for from last video, instead of Queen of Hearts. Trickmon is an Appmon who is a magician who specializes in card tricks and specifically creating illusions from them. And once again, Appmon has solved everything in its very first level. We don't have to go any further. That's good. That's it. But we'll keep going. Adult level, we got Vegasmon. Vegasmon. And what happens in Vegasmon gets distributed all over the net. Because that's just kind of what Org 13 does. Do they? I wasn't paying attention to what I was saying there. Vegasmon is a dealer who despises cheating. This one is specifically specializes in roulette, but you know, it's just kind of general gambling. I'm sure we could add a roulette to Luxord's battle somewhere, somehow. You know, we got the gambler nobodies. It's, you know, it's just all in that. Vegasmon actually will take bets using anything. Like, you can bet. I mean, I think the example it gives is it will take bets on anything from gold teeth to even lives. Which, sure, yeah. Now, Luxord's Perfect is another one I kind of had to shove in an awkward X-antibody just to have an X-antibody. This is a Mephistomon. It's Mephismon in the original. I guess it is just Mephismon. Yeah, this is Mephismon X. Mephismon X. I think it is Mephistomon in English. Yeah, Mephismon is a fancy goat demon. It's not really specifically gambling related. I just needed something to kind of shove in there. Just ruined that line. Me and my silly gimmicks. But it has a magical Mary Poppins umbrella, but evil. Is that something? Sure. I'm sure it could be incorporated into the game somehow. And then finally, we're giving him an old classic. He gets Piedmon. This is kind of one that I have to use the dub name for, because its original name is Piemon for Piero, the French name for clown, but quite cleverly they turned it into Piedmon, Pied for being very colorful. So props to the dub team for that one. He's got, and gosh, I hate using this word nowadays, trump swords, but they are, card themed, not other things themed. But yes, he has card themed attacks, and just kind of like magic, like he does that box and skewer with the swords trick. Yeah. Again, I'm sure there's some way to incorporate that in. He's got cards. That's the theme we were going for. I'm sure we could have done something with time, but even Luxor doesn't really implement time that well. Maybe there'll be something in the future. I don't know. Let's do Saïx. Saïx, whose element is moon, I guess. Whatever that means. We have some moon-themed Digimon, none of whom really fit Saïx, and some that I want to save for later. So I think we're going to just kind of lean more Axe than Moon. Axe and like Berserker sort of theme. And just because I need a child. This is Spadamon. Nope, not Cheon yet. Spadamon. Spadamon, he's a cute little lion boy. He's also, again, one of those Digimon who can transform into weapons. This time he's kind of a axey, spear, sword, whatever he's holding there. He can turn into something like that. Yeah. Then we're going to go to, this is Ogremon X is his X antibody. Let's bring him out. This just absolute disaster of a design. Continuing this axe theme, he's got, it's a guitar, which is also an axe, which is also a buzzsaw. Which I honestly think it's kind of cool. But yeah, his X antibody has kind of brought out his berserker side, crazed warrior, it attacks with glee. It's also kind of a rock star. Its special move is just like slamming its guitar down. That will, to break it, like that old rock thing. Also can use its axe to be a buzzsaw and tear its opponents to pieces. Jeez. And then this is kind of an evolution for Ogremon, but it was originally from a Chinese Digimon game, so it has a Chinese name that I'm sure I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of. This is, oh boy, Shintenmon? Shintenmon? I'm just going by the romanization of the Japanese letters. Oh boy. Shintenmon. Sure. Yeah, it's kind of a natural progression of Ogremon X here. Bigger axe. It is an angry axe now. He's got a shield. This is also just kind of a big berserker Digimon who just has an indomitable fighting spirit. Will never accept defeat, no matter how disadvantageous this situation is. Which is certainly a reflection of Psyx. I forgot who we were doing for a second. And then finally, just keeping that axe theme going, we're going with classic Frankenstein Digimon. This is Boltmon. Oop. I'll go into the background here. Boltmon. Basically Frankenstein as a Digimon. But his special ability is wielding the gigantic axe on his back. Why can the sizing not be helpful right now? Yeah. But also, it's a Digimon who was difficult to control and runs wild. Again, Berserker, Axe Wielder, Psyx. Good. On to Shion. Was a little tough to pick, but we'll start with Bemmon. This is a Digimon that is an artificial Digimon, and thus had no will of its own. Bemmon. It's also an alien, I think. I forget the exact plot. It comes from Digimon World 3, I think. Yeah, it was programmed only with the command codes for eating and getting stronger, which I certainly think is what was intended for Shion when she was made, as a potential replacement for Roxas. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Bem should all be capitalized for some reason. Why is that? Oh, because it stands for Bug-Eyed Monster. I really haven't seen this since Digimon World 3. Yeah. Bemmon is going to evolve into Snatchmon. Snatchmon is still artificial. It's the intended evolution for Bemmon. This is one that it grew stronger by cannibalizing other Bemmon, and until the point it could evolve. This is like at this level they're just sort of like starting to develop their own awareness, their own consciousness, sense of self. And I think this is, once Shion starts developing her own abilities and, towards the latter half of days, she could probably, maybe once she learns to summon the Keyblade after that period where she couldn't, maybe she gets Snatchmon, I guess. Sure. At this point, I kind of had trouble picking out Shion's next evolutions, but we're going to continue the artificial Digimon route, and this is Eosmon Perfect, because there's an Eosmon for like every level except Child. So this is the perfect level. Eosmon Perfect. I wouldn't say there's anything specifically Shion coded about this Eosmon. It was just kind of a decent bridge that I needed. It evolved when a problem occurred as it was carrying out a mission. So this could be, a late game something or other that happened. And then of course Shion needs an X antibody because she is an official member of Org 13. So she's getting, well, first off, Cherubimon Vice X. This is at the end of days when she's fighting Roxas. She gets Evil Magic Rabbit. Cherubimon is a Digimon who was banished from or the Vice version, I should say, was banished from being one of the three Archangel Digimon. The X antibody specifically just accumulates dark energy in the sphere in its abdomen there, and it can eternally trap the consciousness of anyone who comes in contact with it. Yeah. I think it kind of evokes the armor Shion's wearing at the end. That, like, Sora-ish Keyblade armor. It kind of has this same vibe. But once Shion is finally freed at the end of 3, we're going to give her the good version. This is Cherubimon Virtue X. I'll leave it up while I read the profile. Conversely to Vice, Cherubimon Virtue accumulates light energy in its abdomen. And it seems that pure Digimon unleash their own latent abilities when hugged by Cherubimon. However, as for Digimon with wicked hearts, it replaces their evil spirit with light, and they revert back to a Digitama, from which they will emerge as a good Digimon. Aw. Its special attack is hugging them. Evil Digimon that Cherubimon has given up on are reduced to ashes with its Birin Hug You, which sends an electric shock through their body as they're being hugged. That's kind of cute. But yeah, this could, like, maybe like it somehow, like when they're fighting in the Keyblade graveyard, it somehow invokes Cherubimon Virtue, and that like purges the time-shifted Shion or the remade Shion, and replaces it with true Shion inside Sora, something or other like that. It's Virtue. I will learn to spell at some point. It is not today. Cherubimon Virtue is her true ultimate form, finally having achieved, like, its own sentience from being an artificial puppet Digimon, like Shion. Crazy that. Let's get Xemnas, our last boy. Xemnas. Okay. So again, if you've watched the first video, I kind of hinted at, or outright spoiled, I guess, that I'm gonna get this right this time. Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, Terra Xehanort, and Xemnas would all have the same Digimon, because as a researcher, as Terra Xehanort, he would have created his own artificial Digimon in Proto Gizmon, and he can just mass produce these, and he doesn't really care about them. But they're just gonna go with Proto Gizmon. Empty Digimon, completely artificial, and it just goes with Xemnas because I think it kind of fits him better, and as the nobody, he kind of has that, like, emptiness, nothingness idea, and that just kind of, like, pushes that, the evolutions of Gizmon. And that follows Gizmon through all of its evolutions. This is Gizmon AT. And Gizmon XT. They are blank puppet Digimon. They have nothing inside them. They are fully empty, emotionless, mindless creatures. Certainly right up Xemnas' alley. And then we're going to give him... And then that's where the Gizmon line ends, but we're going to give him another empty Digimon. This is actually from that movie that I said, X Evolution. This is Death Xmon, or if you want to shorten it, is Dexmon. Oh, we're going to make it so tiny. Tiny, tiny Dexmon. Dexmon is, again, it's just kind of like an empty, false, not real Digimon. It doesn't have a Digicore, which is kind of like what makes a Digimon exist. So it's, per its profile, it can't quite be classified as a Digimon. But if it detects another Digicore, it will attempt to absorb it into its own body and disassemble it into nothing. Which is perfect. Perfect for our boy. And then, of course, our final boss needs a Super Ultimate. And because this is Kingdom Hearts 2, we have to go bigger and better. So he's getting 2 Super Ultimates. We're going to start with a Batomon. Actually, let me bring it into frame so you can see what it is first. This is a Batomon. It's a very new Digimon, actually. A Batomon is a Digimon who evolved by absorbing by absorbing negative data that the net is overflowing with beyond the Digimon's limit. Its raison d'etre is to transcend good and evil and return everything to nothingness. Again, absolutely perfect for Xemnas. So that's its first form. I think it's 2 B's for a Batomon, even though the actual demon that the name is derived from is only 1. That's a Batomon, is its first form, and then, you know, this is like the final boss fight. After Memory Skyscraper, through Armored Xemnas and Dragon Xemnas, this is all a Batomon. And then final fight Xemnas with the Zebra Mumu is a Batomon will evolve to Batomon Core. This is like the true form within a Batomon, and per its profile, it seeks nothingness, prefers nothingness, and rejects everything except nothingness. After it turns everything into nothingness, it disappears itself, fulfilling its purpose. So, this is the absolute final, last resort attempt to nothingness everything. And again, just absolutely perfect for our boy Xemnas. Oops, not a Dadomon, a Batomon. And there we go. Is what I say if this were on screen. Sure, there we go. And let's get this guy in frame here. Alright, that's Calm and Kingdom Hearts 2 down. Let me know if you like this. I'm probably doing BBS and 3 next anyway, but it sure is a nice booster to morale if literally anyone watches this. But yeah, it's just fun to do anyway. I'll see y'all next time then. Bye!